lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. I am so excited to have with me today Abigail Tiefenthaler. How are you today?
I am well. I'm cold, but I'm good.
It is cold. You know what? Here in Charlotte, Abigail, it's like 20 degrees today. It's really cold.
I'm in East Tennessee, and it's 14, which is 25 degrees below normal.
Yes. So that's why you're nice and
in a deep freeze.
And that's why you're nice and bundled up over there, right?
Yep. I love this sweater because it's so nice and warm.
That's a good thing. And that's this jacket actually has like a fuzzy feel to it. And so it's nice and warm too. But I'm in hot flash mode most of the time. So I am not about to keep this on probably all day.
Well, I have moved past that point, thankfully. So I wish you well during this
season, right?
This season of your life. Exactly.
Absolutely. Listen, I'm so glad that you took the time to be here today. As you all grab your virtual seats, we are encouraging you to share the broadcast with your friends, your family. We're going to be talking about everything sales related, what rooms you need to be in the presence of other individuals to make some power connections. You're going to learn a lot today from this sales and marketing expert. And so I won't even delay without giving you the opportunity to hear who we have in our presence. And so Abigail, and you can see how her name is spelled, but it's Tiefenthaler. Tiefenthaler is a seasoned client getting strategist. You hear that word, client getting strategist, with over 4 decades of experience in marketing and sales. She is a dynamic 7-figure entrepreneur, and she helps passionate female coaches and consultants accelerate their growth by thinking bigger and attracting clients strategically. Now, I'm not going to read all of her bio because there are some things that she's actually co-founded with one of her teammates, Tami, and it's a method that they created that I want her to talk about some here today. So I am just honored to have you here on the Kim Jacobs Show. Glad to have you, Abigail.
I'm so glad you asked me. I'm excited for this conversation because whenever I have an opportunity to talk about marketing and sales, it's my jam. So I can do it morning, noon, and night. And I think it even works while I'm sleeping because I can't seem to turn it off.
That's so funny. One of your contemporaries from the Knoxville area came to one of our Charlotte events with eWOMEN Network. And we're going to talk heavily about that as well today. And she was like, oh, all things sales. All you need to do is just talk to Abigail. She knows this. She's doing different creative auctioning items. And she was just sharing some great ideas, all because she's learned so much and gleaned so much from you. So Evelyn is singing your praises, that's for sure.
I love Evelyn. I really do. She has been a part of the eWomen community for years. And, Knoxville was stagnant for a number of years. And she keeps on saying, I'm here because of you, which I want her to be here because of the community, but right. I'm here. She's thrilled that we've invigorated and reignited the community because here's the thing: every area, business area, especially in the South, where I'm a Northern girl, right? I was born and raised in New York and New Jersey, and went to college, got my degrees in New York City, worked in Philadelphia. But once you get into the South, there's still a little bit of old boys network, at least in Knoxville. I don't know about Charlotte or some of the other, but Aiken, it was true too. We lived in South Carolina for a while. And so I think it's so important because we've got some brilliant women.
That's right.
Brilliant, just absolutely brilliant women, young, middle-aged, older, that this community, eWomen, has been such a great place for them to find their voice and to find their confidence and to find their courage to say, you know what? I'm giving myself permission to ask for what I want.
That's right.
That's good.
Giving yourself permission instead of waiting for someone else to endorse you or to give you the this is okay, my stamp of approval. Giving yourself the stamp of approval that no, what I bring to the world makes a difference, right, Abigail?
Absolutely. And you know, this is the thing that just makes my heart sing is when I work with a female coach or a consultant. Those are my ideal clients. And they go, you're right. That is my zone of genius. That is my jam. That's what I do. Why is it taking me so long? Because everybody else sees it, right? We all see each other's brilliance before we see it ourselves. And be able to say, you know what? I do this differently. I do this in a new way. And you know, I'm going to be 65 in February, and so I grew.
You look amazing. Let's not just brush past that.
Well, thank you.
That's unbelievable. So keep up the great work.
You know, I grew up in New York City advertising. My father and my mother were both involved with BBD&O. My dad went out on his own. My mother was an entrepreneur out of the house from the time I was about 5 or 6 years old. She did marketing as well. And when young girls in my time were, you know, asking for what they wanted, we were harsh, right? We were aggressive. We weren't assertive. You know,
that's why you were labeled as that, because that's like too much for a girl at the time to be taking that approach is what
yes, that's that I think is fairly true. And yes, so what happens is one of two things. Either the girl shrinks down to nothing, right? Mm-hmm. Or she goes, well, I got to talk louder. I got to be more present, which now, you know, it's about turning that volume up so loud that people are going like this.
Like,
yeah. Right. So what's so amazing about today's world is that we can speak with the voice that we were given and stand in that power without turning people off.
That's right.
And without shrinking to a place where we don't even have the confidence to do so ourselves.
So when did you realize that you had this gift, this power to be able to step into your own greatness in sales and marketing? Because it came probably early on in your life. I'd like for you to take us back and tell us some of your backstory that made you develop that confidence.
So some would tell you that I was born with that silver spoon, because at the age of 3, and I kid you not, my parents had a home on Fire Island, which is, you know, off Long Island outside of New York City.
Right.
And I was walking up and down the beach, inviting people to my parents' house for cocktails.
Okay.
Because I was raised in a very social family. My father, being in advertising, they were always entertaining. They were going out, or they were inviting people into their home. They would have clients. They would invite people out to Fire Island for the weekend. So to me, inviting somebody to go have a drink was just a part of who I was. Right. So this woman shows up at my mother's door. My mom is at the house. First of all, you know, you could let a 3-year-old walk along the beach at that time, right? And she was taking care of my younger brother. And this woman knocks on the door and she said, your daughter's walking up and down the beach, inviting, you know, people to your house for cocktails. And my mother's response, which was so classic, was, well, I guess I better start making some hors d'oeuvres.
Look at your mama.
So, you know, I truly started learning about the art of relationship and the art of just asking people at that young age.
Well, I have to put this up because, I mean, you're walking up and down the Fire Island. I mean, this is a big to-do. I found these images over here. I'm like, imagine, because it gives a better visual as you're tuning in here to the Kim Jacobs Show, and we're talking to Abigail Tiefenthaler, that the thing is, she's walking up and down this strip, this exclusive area, and telling people to come to her mom's home. Okay. So that gives you a visual right there. Okay.
Well,
so
and it truly is a part of who I was when I was, you know, in high school. I wasn't a part of this group or that group. I was the person that kind of hovered everywhere. I particularly like the boys because I was class flirt, as my senior year. My superlative was class flirt, but I enjoyed being, able to, Susie has a crush on David. Well, I'll go see if David likes Susie and, facilitate, right, those connections.
So you were the love connection over there.
Well, the love connection, the study connection, the money connection, there were a lot of things, right? But at the center of everything was relationship, which in marketing is so important. And in client getting is even more critical. It's who I am. I can't tell you what point in time did I realize it. I think it's like, why do I have gray hair this color? Because it's just who I am.
Right. Okay. So you would just there are some people technically that are born with certain gifts and talents that I believe God just expects for us to salt this earth with those particular gifts. And so right from an early age, you're out marketing and you're out encouraging people, come to my mom's home. They don't mind because, this is what we do. We entertain people, but who are we going to entertain if we don't have people to entertain? So you're out there on the island and you're inviting people, and your mom is so she's used to this, to the point where she's like, oh, I'll start preparing dinner. Oh, no problem. You're like, what? Your daughter is out there on Fire Island. I don't think she's allowed to do this at this level, but she didn't stifle you. That's what my takeaway was. So how important is that for a parent not to stifle a child regardless of their age?
I think our job is, as parents, because I have two daughters who are 29 and 32, and I've worked really hard for them to have their voice. And my 29-year-old, man, she took my advice all the way down the line. My 32, I'm still working on, but and is an amazing, amazing, amazing girl and woman in her own right. But I think our job, and I had this conversation with one of my older daughter's teachers. Because he would say things in class, and then my daughter would get in the car, and it was the first thing she wanted to talk about was what happened in Mr. Euther's class.
Right.
And whether I agreed with Mr. Euther or not, my job, I thought, was to say, well, what about the other side? If A is the first letter, well, what happens to Z, the last letter, right? Like, I would do that. And so I was in a parent-teacher conference with this particular teacher who I loved, by the way.
Okay.
And I said, your job isn't to tell our children what to think. My job isn't to tell my children what to think. Our job is to teach them to think.
That's good.
And to teach them to be. And I will tell you, I failed miserably a number of times. So for all you parents out there, there's hope. Because I called myself bad mom many, many, many times. And my kids called me bad mom many, many, many times.
Haven't all of our kids at some point like, mom, I don't think this is how it's supposed to be. It's like, no.
Or I hate you or
all kind of stuff.
Yeah. But I think our job is really to give our children experiences where they can start figuring it out with the guidance of a parent, to have that open relationship. Mom, again, going back to my older daughter in 7th grade, she was set up on a kind of, a boy and a girl were dating. And so he had a friend and the girl brought Amanda and they were chatting, and which was a little young. And Amanda was nowhere near in that dating mindset anyway. I was much more like, I understood it in 7th grade. She really didn't.
Right.
And so she comes home and I go, well, how was it? And she goes, well, it didn't work out really well. I don't think he liked me. And I go, was he funny? And she said, no. I go, was he smart? Because she's brilliant. I said, no. And I go, was he good looking? She goes, I said, then what do you care what he thinks?
Who cares, right? You still have the rest of your life, sweetheart. It's all good.
Well, and this is, this is true even as we're working with our clients, is helping them understand that how somebody reacts to you says more about them than it does about you.
You are brilliant already. You're just brilliant. You're brilliant, Abigail. Say it one more time. What, because I don't want you, if you're taking notes, make sure you're putting it over there in the comment section. This is a key takeaway that Abigail is saying right now. It's more of what, Abigail?
When somebody, when you say something and how they react says more about them than it does about you.
Yes. And it goes right with the theory that in life is really 10% of what happens to us and 90% how we react to it. So we're in control of how we can respond to some of the things that's being thrown at us. And that's a famous quote that we all should live by, because at the end of the day, we can't control anybody else, but we can control our response to how we are being treated in a situation. So,
well, and we can become an example. We can become the person, I've been married 34 plus years. I've known my husband 36. And I used to think, and I used to think that he was weak, and he's not. But then I realized, and it was going through a Bible study fellowship course. And
you're making me be a sleuth. I'm over here searching.
He and my two girls just make up my world. But he, I realized that, the meek shall inherit the world, right? It's a biblical comment. And they just know when to hold them and know when to fold them. They know when to walk out of the room and turn the other cheek. And I know I'm mixing metaphors and all of that and references, but they aren't weak people. They just can pick their battles. And he's a phenomenal man to begin with. The fact that he has lived with me for 34 years makes him, just a prince among men. So
I love it. I had to find some pictures. I know these aren't the pictures you sent me. I'm like, okay, but who cares? I got to put these up, right?
Yeah, he is my true north. And it's interesting because he's learned from me over 34 years. He's, been a computer programmer when I met him. He was a painter and wallpaper for 12 years, had his own business, and he's been a nurse for 17. And, people will say, those are like three such different careers.
Very different, right?
But you know what? If you take a look at the strengths that are required for success in each of them, they're very similar. You have to be detailed oriented. You have to be you have to be able to work alone. You have to be able to start something and complete it.
That's right.
Right? Because you can't just leave a wall halfway through. You can't just leave a program as you're coding it. You have to get to a certain step where you can stop.
That's right.
And he is a nurturer. He is the nurturer in our family, not me.
Well, what's his name?
Jim.
Jim. Okay. Hey, Jim. How are you? So glad to be interviewing your better other half and the part that makes you complete too. So I'm excited to have your wife, Abigail, on today. I'm acting like I'm talking to you, Jim. Anyway, I also saw these pictures. I'm hoping these are your girls, hopefully.
They are my girls. This is Iceland. We were there last year, and these three are my. And you can see the younger one, right? She's all that in a bag of chips.
She's adventurous.
When I was just searching, a bag of chips.
I was searching through. I hope you didn't mind me putting those up. I normally don't put stuff up, but I was like, this is hopefully fun because I get a chance. I can see you have so much business stuff on your page too, but I was excited to see this family component, and especially since our show is about how you balance all different aspects of your life. How has it been balancing entrepreneurship, motherhood, being a wife? And I know we're going to talk a lot about this conference that's coming up. It's a summit that you're not going to want to miss. So do not touch that dial and turn this station. We're going to have some detailed conversation about something that you need to be in the room for. But talk to us about how you balance all of these different hats that you've worn along your journey.
Well, I will tell you that every now and again, the hat comes off, right? We all know that. My children, so I left corporate America at the end of 97 and I moved to Florida. My husband and I picked up and we relocated to Florida to be closer to my parents. And my kids were 2 and 5 at the time. So I had originally moved to partner with a couple of gentlemen and we were going to sell $1 million promotional programs to the McDonald's and the PepsiCos of the world. And within 30 days, that imploded, just absolutely imploded. And there I was, houseless because we had just moved and I had rented our townhouse up in Pennsylvania. We were penniless because we had just moved and, didn't have a lot of savings. And my parents sat me down and said, look, we don't know where you should be. We don't know what the right thing is for you. But I think you should give Florida 6 months. And if worse comes to worse, go back up, to Pennsylvania. And we're going to do whatever we can to help. And my parents gave me a check, and the check I had known was coming because it was for a job that I had done with my dad. And it was a part of his commission. He wanted to gift back to me. But I spent 6 months starting and building a promotional products business. I was a distributor and I put my 2.5-year-old at the time into a childcare, and my 5-year-old was in kindergarten, and my parents lived 4 minutes away, from the house that we had rented. And so I will tell you that my balancing act really had a lot of legs to its stools. If you understand that concept.
Yes,
right. It wasn't just my husband and I, it was my mother and my father. My brother was in Florida, and we all took on the task of making sure that my girls were okay, of, supporting me as I was getting the business up and running, of helping my husband build his painting and wallpapering business. And it, it was very fluid. And, at one point, my brother was tasked with picking up my girls from school.
Right.
And they weren't there. They were in probably second grade and kindergarten, third grade and kindergarten. I don't remember, but I think that was it. And because I guess they didn't see my brother, so they started walking. And so now my brother's freaking out. I was probably at a client. My mother was probably in father, because they were working full time, even though they were working out of the house. And they are walking down the street. My brother finally finds them, and they are fighting like cats and dogs.
Just walking down the street fighting. This is crazy.
And he puts them in the car and he brings them to my mother's house. And I go and I hear this story. And I'm like, how could this happen? Girls, Uncle Freddie was coming to pick you up, And my brother said, I go, you could have been kidnapped. You could, abducted.
Anything, right.
Right. And my brother goes, nobody would have taken them. They were fighting like cats and dogs.
He's like, you're not going to get in the middle of this family squabble at all. These people are like, just leave them on the side of the road.
So, that's just kind of how we ran, if you will. And the balance, again, I've been doing this now for 26 years, being a home-based entrepreneur.
Yes.
And I remember talking about, how do you balance this, right? That's a question that a lot of women will come up to me, and they're like, how do you get laundry done? And I look at them like, this is your biggest problem, is how do you get laundry done? I throw it in the wash, I put it in the dryer, and then I have, you teach your kids how to fold laundry, and you teach your kids how to clean up their room, and you teach your kids how to make, get dinner started, right? Become, sous chefs, right? I mean, I was lucky enough. I did very well, and, had somebody come in to do the cleaning part of the house, because I've never been a cleaner. My husband's much better at cleaning than I am. But that's like, how do you find balance? It isn't about balance. It's really about priority. It's about focusing on the things that are important. And when is pizza okay? And
right.
When do you really want to take the time? And, my kids were very active in sports. We were up at 4:30 in the morning for them to figure skate down in Florida. They were on the ice at 5:15. We were rolling through Dunkin' Donuts at 7:30. They were in school by 8. I was PTA president, running a 7-figure business. There were multiple times my girls got to school with no shoes because they put on their skates.
Right.
We dealt with it all,
Everything. That's encouraging, because there are people that are watching need to know that there is a way to successfully still have over 40 years of marketing and sales experience and be able to be married and be able to have teenagers and girls that are in school with their own activities and entrepreneurial dreams and things as well, extracurricular activities. So you've done a great job of being able to manage it effectively. And there, like you said, there are still times, even in the midst of you managing it, that you're still told you're a bad mom, you don't care about us, and that doesn't mean that you're not balancing life. It's just maybe the season that you're in that particular phase of your life, you know?
Yeah, I recently had conversation with two different women who are in their 40s, and they have children and, you know, careers, and have been struggling a little bit. And I don't wish the 40s on anyone. You know, it is a really hard time, because you're no longer 30s. You kind of have to make your mark. You know, your kids are demanding 1,000% of your time.
Yeah.
If you're a single parent, God bless you, because I mean, I used to tell my husband, I can't divorce you because I don't know what, I couldn't be a single parent. I just I got to figure out how to like you.
To me, right?
Right? I got to figure out how to like you, because this parenting stuff is hard.
It is. It really is. It is.
Yeah.
And people can sugarcoat it, but it's hard. And even when you have great children, I mean, I have children that are really incredible children that are willing to do and to help and to be a chameleon when I need them to be that. And it's still challenging. It is not an easy task at all. So I can't even imagine if you have children that are like being rebellious against what you're attempting to do, you know, it can really throw things into oblivion.
And we had our hard times. I mean, 2008, we were a part of the, you know, just the whole economic meltdown that was going on.
Yes.
I lost 2 or 3 of my biggest clients. I remember walking through one of my annual trade shows going, what am I doing here? And my mother had fallen and broken her hip in, you know, that year. And so that added a layer of challenge, because she was my bookkeeper and she was not a great bookkeeper. And you know, trying to undo some of that. Right. And my father was at a loss. I mean, life happens. And the one piece of grace that I offer to your community is be okay with with wherever and whatever is thrown at you, and just feel into the piece of it.
That's right.
Because I bore the failure of my business. I bore the problems that we had financially with the house and our economy, you know, with what my dad was going through, with what I was like the empath, just, it was entirely on me.
Imploding, right?
Yeah. And I don't know how I would have done it without my girls who were, well, Mom, can we do this? You know, asking, like, wanting to make sure that they weren't adding more stress, or my husband saying, what do we need to do?
That's good.
So
yeah, this is really good information. So I hope you all are gleaning some great takeaways, even if you're balancing all different hats that you're wearing that require 100% of your attention in every regard. And so as we're talking to you today, Abigail, I want to make sure that I understand, what are some of the biggest mindset shifts that female entrepreneurs need to make to even start thinking bigger and attracting their ideal clients? You're a master at attracting ideal clients.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about your company, and also how you go about attracting these ideal clients.
Right. And I will tell you that 100% of it starts with you. It is tapping deep enough into answering the questions of who you are, understanding the problem you solve, understanding who you solve it for, and why they need it solved.
So answer, and somebody type this, answer the question of who you are,
the problem you solve, who you solve it for, and why they need it solved.
Who you solve it for.
And most business owners, and I will tell you that if you are struggling to go to 5 figures or 6 figures or even 7 figures, it's because you have never truly addressed those questions at a deep enough level.
That's good. I'm typing this over here. So I want to make sure I put it up here for you.
Who you are, the problem you solve,
go ahead.
and why they need it solved.
Wow. That's good. If you all don't do anything else, make sure you take these questions and start applying them to your business, who you are and the problem. Yes, I see you, Judy. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and make sure you all share the broadcast. And I see you Judy. Also. I see you, Mom. I see all of you all. If you're not typing comments, it's hard for me to look over here on the phone. I see you, Mom. I see you, Gerald.
And let's take that, since we're on this teachable moment, let's take that to the next level. Because when you ask yourself that question, who am I? The answer that you give needs the response of, why is this important? Or why is it relevant? Or how do I make it relatable? That's the thing we don't do. We will say who we are, but we don't ask, why is it important?
Important. That's good.
What the problem you solve? Why is that solving that problem important? And that's what we don't go to those. There's an exercise about those 7 layers of why.
Yes.
Right. To get to the crux of it. And here's the other thing that I will say is that over time, you may shift some of these answers, because you will find that you thought people came to you because they liked the strategy you put in place.
Right.
But in reality, they come to you because they feel safe.
That's good.
That, so you have to be able to now be aware of how the universe is responding, right? i.e. clients, messaging, responses,
right?
No's, maybes, yeses, whatever. And you have to be able to say, well, is this still true? Right? So if you do an annual review of your business,
right,
your personal or your professional life, and Sandra, the founder of eWOMEN Network, will talk about skill set, tool set, mindset. I've been saying it for years.
Ever, right.
Right. But the question is, if you do an annual review of your personal and professional life, then you start to say, well, what do I want to have different? What do I want to have more of? What do I want to have less of? What do I want to have new of? Right? What do I want to get rid of? Now the question is, do you need the mindset to make that happen? Do I need the skill set to, maybe I need to learn something new? Or do I have the tool set? Is that where my gap is? And so understanding, we don't do enough self-evaluation.
Right.
So when you say, what's the mindset, the biggest shifts in your mindset, it's number one, being open to really doing that exploration.
That's good.
Because if you do that exploration, you asked at very beginning, when did I know, or how did I know?
Right.
I was always probably born with a little more confidence than I should have had.
Okay.
And
me too, I think. So we probably were twins.
Sisters from a different mister, for sure. Right. So confidence wasn't necessarily my problem, but courage. I've had those challenges with who cares? I've asked the question, well, who really cares? Right. Or what if I do it and it's wrong, or I disappoint, right? So, as women, we have those 1,000 monkeys going on in our head, giving us all kinds of advice all at once.
Ourselves. Right.
And, that's where this being able to on a yearly basis, do this self-reflective exercise now, and then it's a great precursor to a vision board, or to really kind of go flow into what I need and what I don't need. And then here's the other thing I'm going to tell you. I want you to put blinders on sometimes.
That's good.
Because everybody else is going to do something that you think you should be doing. And I'm going to tell you, just because they're doing it doesn't mean you should be doing it too.
Put blinders on. Somebody type that. Put blinders on. I'm typing it too sometimes.
Because we need to stay in our lane. And I will tell you that is probably the number one reason why my promotional products business was as successful as it was, as quickly as it was. Because I took the no as a not now.
That's right.
I just was out there telling everybody what I did.
That's good.
I wasn't afraid to lose a job. I let them ask me again for a quote, and I bid it again with the same passion and vigor that I could do the first time. I didn't give up.
That's good.
And it's so important to understand. Like, people would then say to me, you know what? You've been calling on me for a while. I didn't stop calling. I'm very good at follow-up. I am amazing at follow-up. Like, I didn't stop calling. I didn't, I didn't get nasty in my tone of voice.
Right. It didn't change.
And then somebody would finally say, you know what? I think we have an opportunity. When can we talk? And then somebody else, they'll start revealing their entire life. You become, the bartender, and because you're a stranger and they're telling you all these things, and they'll go, well, we used to work with so-and-so, and do you know them? And I didn't know anybody in my industry. I didn't care. I didn't want anybody else's method or pricing structure or personality or the way they did their presentations to impact how I thought I should be the vendor, the supplier for this particular project.
That's good.
And it worked out well, because
it worked out very well, because you actually have something that's called the Grow Method Training Lab. And I really would like for you to talk. I know in this hour, it's so many different things that you've done in a 40-year time span. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, I'm gonna take a piece of that and take a piece of this.
So the Grow Method Training Lab has come over the last 6 years that Tami and I have worked together, and the 9 years that we've really been in the sales, the coaching world, working with coaches, selling for coaches, talking to coaches. And the Grow Method Training Lab is, here's my sales pitch, if you will. What would happen if you could find a place to nurture your leads, convert your prospects, and retain your clients? Would that be of interest to you?
Yes.
Because again, you've got to bring people into your ecosystem, right? That's the lead generation. You've got to find a way to develop that know, like, and trust. That's the nurturing. You have to have conversion opportunities to get a prospect to become a client. And then once a client works with you, you probably want to say, okay, what's next? They want to say, what's next? And everybody is looking at all these marketing and sales platforms with, how do I sell on marketing platforms and how do I market on sales platforms? The Grow Method Training Lab is actually the concept of bringing micro communities together. Bringing small, value-based, client-centric communities, not volume-based, not platform-based, not a membership into a private Facebook group because you've, bought this platform and it's there to answer questions. It's not a question and answer, right? Or it's not a portal into 10 million training videos. Right. It is actually about community building. And this is something that I've learned as the managing director for the Knoxville chapter of eWOMEN Network, is that women want to be in community. They want to know they're okay. And here's the thing, I'm going to tell you that this is a true need. Women who are trying to do something that is uncomfortable for them, build businesses, need to be in community, because they don't always have the support of their friends and family. They don't know all the path, all the steps in the path that need to happen for them. And so they're relying on a lot of marketers, which are all about volume. They're all about selling. They're all about saying, well, this will work for you. In reality, it won't. The best example I can give you is that when my husband and I were dating, he went into Ann Taylor and bought 2 beautiful, beautiful outfits for me and gave them to me as a Christmas gift. Okay. And I opened them up and they were exquisite. He had worked with somebody. However, in his mind, I must have been 5'10", because they were not designed for a little 5'2" person who was a little bit chubby. And so that's my point. My point is that there are beautiful things out there that need to be put in the right place for the right person.
That's good.
And so as marketers, what Tami and I really, really do is we focus on helping you identify what is that path, because it's not the same for everyone. And you can't get confidence and courage if you don't believe that that path is going to work for you.
That's good. I found this because you're speaking to it already. So I just put the image up, and it was from your Facebook, but this is the micro communities are the 2025 trend. And that's what you were kind of speaking about, but I like to have a visual. So this is
absolutely
really good.
Because ultimately we have to take marketing, right? The definition, my definition of marketing is that it is one-way communication designed to drive decision-making. That's why when you see these funnels and they're really big at the top and they narrow down, you know, that's the idea, is that you get people interested, and then over the course of that nurturing, developing that know, like, and trust, people start to opt out, which is why the funnel gets smaller. The amount of people in your community gets smaller and smaller. But the beautiful thing about a micro community is that it can be free, it can be paid, it can be free and paid. You can have an expert come in and do teachings and give them access to your preferred community. You can charge them. There's revenue streams that are possible. So that's where we realized that the future is community.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. So listen, we're going to take a commercial break, because this is one of my commercials in my show. I actually would love to get yours, and I will run it again in one of my episodes throughout the week too, when you know how we have as a managing director, the commercials. So this is one of my commercial breaks on my show. So we'll take a break. And when we come back, we're going to actually be talking about eWOMEN Network. You hear about it all the time right here on the Kim Jacobs Show, because I run this commercial ad, but I want you to hear about it from the perspective of this managing director, Abigail Tiefenthaler, who's going to be talking as a managing director in the Knoxville, Tennessee area under the direction of Sandra Yancey. We're both managing directors. I'm in the Charlotte area. She's in Knoxville, Tennessee. We do a lot of things collaboratively as well. And we're under the leadership of Sandra Yancey, who founded this incredible organization. So take a look at this commercial break. Get your mind right. We want to hear about this incredible summit that's happening on how people can benefit from profits and how they can turn it into power, coming up on February 11th, right after this commercial break. You're doing a great job too, Abigail, by the way. I'm enjoying myself so much. Hold on, we'll be right back, everybody. Hi, I'm Kim Jacobs, the Managing Director of the Charlotte, North Carolina chapter of eWOMEN Network. I am so excited that you stopped to watch this video. I've got good news for you. You've just discovered an international network of women entrepreneurs who are committed to helping you achieve, succeed, and prosper. We're on a mission here to help 1 million women entrepreneurs each achieve $1 million in annual revenue. Here at eWOMEN Network, we have a complete success system that supports you every step of the way in building and growing your business. You being here right now is no accident. We're supposed to know about you. We want to meet you to find out how we can help you, as well as learn about what you have to offer. With over 500,000 women connected through 118 chapters across the United States, Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom, you are never alone. If this is resonating with you, please go to eWomennetwork.com/Charlotte. Notice too my contact information. I invite you to reach out to me and to check out our upcoming in-person and online events. I'm really looking forward to introducing you to our special community. All right, everyone, we are back and we are talking with Abigail today, and she is getting ready to host an incredible conference that's taking place on February 11th. I put it in the comment section for you to be able to register, and I want you to take a moment and talk to us about what's going to happen that you and Sandra, our founder, who is a CNN hero and all of the hats that she wears in teaching people how to be a millionaire in having 1 million women earn $1 million in annual income, not in our lifetime, but in annual income. Talk to us about your collaboration for this event.
Well, I'm excited because every year Sandra chooses a number of cities to do a Women's Success Summit. And I know Charlotte has done them in the past before. It's just a day of amazing energy and amazing interaction. I don't know any other way to describe it. But Sandra is, we are celebrating our 25th year as eWOMEN Network. And her power and passion is infectious.
Yes.
I've heard people, who have gotten on her weekly CEO calls, which is a benefit of membership, and just say, I don't even know where to start. I don't know. I just, like, she turns on and all of a sudden I feel like I'm, electrified. Right. And so we are the inaugural host city for this summit. And it's taken me 3 years to get up the confidence and courage to host it. We are expecting 75 women in the room. We will have a full day. It includes lunch, and we will have a full day of networking, of training. And when Sandra trains, she trains.
Yes.
Like, she is talking about the power of profit, because ultimately at the end of the day, if you're not making money, you're not running a business.
That's right. That's right.
And so this message is so near and dear to her heart. And actually, she and I started networking and being a part of communities around the same time, right? In 2000, I remember I hit $1 million in my business in 1999. And I remember looking at the statistics and finding out that 2% of $1 million business earners were women, right? Mm-hmm. We're running 2% of businesses were run by women.
Yes.
That number today, 25 years later, is 1.76.
That's right.
We are losing ground, ladies.
Yeah.
And so we need community, we need training, we need those skill set, mindset, tool sets more than ever. And here's the thing I will also tell you is you don't have to want $1 million business.
That's right.
You could just want a solid 6-figure business or a solid 5-figure business. I'm not here to tell you that you have to have $1 million business, or you only are going to feel welcome if you have $1 million business.
Right.
This is about putting in place the structure that helps you make decisions at a CEO level.
That's right. That's good. You're speaking my language at this point too, because eWOMEN Network is all about it does not matter what level you're in within your business journey. If you're just starting out, or if you are already a multi-million-dollar business owner, then there is someone in the room for you to connect with. Because the beautiful thing that I like about eWOMEN Network is the concept of give first and share always. So that's all we thrive on is what can I do to make your business better than what it is currently? Who can I connect you with? And Sandra is a perfect example of that, Abigail, because I don't know if you know this or not about my story, but one time when I was on a leadership team in Charlotte, I went to pick her up from the airport. And in the car, I shared with her my vision was to become a talk show host. And literally the lady got her cell phone out, connected me to an agent. I went to Beverly Hills, met with the agent. The lady had literally like 10 or so head decision makers from various networks that we all tune into. I was offered 4 contracts and was able to actually narrow it down to one that I thought would bless more people than just myself. And we, at that time, became the premiere episode of a show that was on the game show network, It Takes a Church, thanks to Sandra Yancey.
Right. I did not know that story. And yes, I mean, that's the power of somebody else's Rolodex. And for anybody who's under the age of 40 and doesn't know what a Rolodex is, it's database. Because I used to have cards and it was in a Rolodex, and I would look and say, okay, I haven't talked to this person in 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, right? Mm-hmm. That's how it was. So it was physical. So it was really easy to know when I needed to follow up.
That's right.
But the more, and as important as the connections are, sometimes it's just the energy. So I actually don't care if you are in a personal development journey and maybe not so much a professional development one. Mm-hmm. Maybe you work in corporate, maybe you work in any part of corporate. This is still a place to realize there's other women out there that want to help.
That's right.
Want to be involved, want to support your success. And at the end of the day, feel better because they know they have someone in their corner.
That's right. That's right. So from your perspective, how important is it for people to be in the right rooms so that they can form these kind of connections? It's necessary.
For women, it's critical.
Mm-hmm.
Not to be in, and no disrespect to men. As I told you, I have a 34-year-old love story with my husband. I love men.
Right.
And I was a class flirt, so I love men. I mean, I do.
What superlative is that? I never even heard of that superlative.
I love the energy of men. I love the task drivenness of men. I love the purpose, the way men think. But you know what? We don't think often the same way. Even women who are more, male dominant than female, right? Left brain or right brain. I can't remember which one.
Right.
Like, it's really important to understand, because in this day and age, and I'm going to tell you, it was a whole lot easier to build $1 million business in the 90s than it is in the 2000s. It is, there are so many more moving parts. There's attention issues. There's the number of hits and impressions that need to happen. And so having somebody along the path with you will make the difference. If you want true transformation, if you want results, if you want to put together a plan, you want to be in a room with women who are going to build you up and support you and connect you.
That's right. And we have 118 chapters, and you heard that in the commercial. So there are 118 chapters around the country with eWOMEN Network. And this particular chapter in Knoxville, if you are anywhere near the Knoxville or surrounding areas, or even need to travel in, make sure that you get your tickets right away. The events always sell out. Just so we're on the same page, you can wait and say a week before, and you will not be able to hear from Sandra Yancey. So if you know that you're going to be able to participate on February 11th, make sure you go ahead and get your ticket now, because the tickets will sell out. The showcase tables will be gone. And just so you know some of the things that Sandra will be talking about, she's talking about some actionable steps that can transform your business. You'll leave with a blueprint for boosting long-term profit. You will also be able to connect successfully with aspiring entrepreneurs in a stimulating. It is like you're at this great conference, but it's in your local area. It's unbelievable. You have to be there. That creates exciting new opportunities and relationships, ideas, and they help create momentum. So if you are serious at all about building a successful business, regardless of what phase you're in now, and just taking it to another level where you're going to unlock profit and have power in the process of doing it, you want to be at this summit. How can they connect with you? I know you're going to be offering some slight discounts to people. So talk to us about that as well.
So message me, number one. Number two, I do have a block of rooms that are available because the host hotel is the Hilton Garden Inn. It's in Knoxville on Paper Mill. So the event director was kind enough to give us a group rate. You do have to make the decision, in the next few days. The other thing that I want to say is, this isn't a 500 woman conference. This is about being in room with the right women who really do want to support you and do want to, maybe shift one thing in their business, because that's all it takes, right? That 1 degree to go from non-boiling to boiling and transformation, actually changing those particles. That's the same thing. Sometimes it's just hearing something for the 40th time and you finally go, all right, I get it, because that's where you are. And so it's going to be an intimate, it's going to be stimulating. It's going to be friendly and welcoming, because as you know, I was raised by a hostess. I was raised by my mother, who, when this stranger shows up at her door and says, your daughter's inviting people for drinks, She says, well, let me start getting some hors d'oeuvres out, right?
That's right.
I want you to feel welcome. I want you to feel important. And I want you to feel expansive. I want you to feel that anything can happen. So that's why I think it's important to be in this room. Oh, and we are the inaugural. So this is what's going to be fun. We're going to all be learning as we go, including Sandra.
That's right. Well, Sandra, you can't Google her stuff. So whatever she teaches you, you will not be able to Google it. That's for sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is what I find to be so much fun about this, is that we're just going to have, and you know what? It's February 11th. It's 2 days before my birthday and 3 days before Valentine's Day. And so this is going to be a galentine. You know, I want every woman in that room to feel special.
Good. And now I know we have audio listeners on iHeartRadio and different places as well. So we're going to say that phone number out too, so people can hear it that aren't seeing it. So go ahead and tell them the number they can messenger you at right away. Okay.
So yes, I have a Florida number, but I live in Tennessee. It's 954 area code 804-9413. 954-804-9413. And text me, because I can offer you a discount. If you're not an eWOMEN member, I can offer you a discount to attend the event. We still have like one table. We even have a sponsorship spot available. And I would love to hear from you. And if it's not even about the summit, but about marketing, and you have a question, don't be afraid to ask.
That's good. That's really good, because again, Abigail has over 40 years of experience and her methods work. She has a proven track record of success. And so if you had one piece of advice that you would like to leave with those that are starting out on their journey as an entrepreneur, what advice would that be from you, Abigail?
You can't learn in theory. You've got to learn in action.
You cannot learn in theory. That means you have to be in motion, doing something and putting it to use, right?
Right. And just remember, marketing is all about decision making, which is why it's like the teeth brushing part of your daily routine. You have to do it every day. It is so important to understand that the goal of marketing is to drive decision making. And so that's why you have to understand this, who you are, the problem you solve, and who you solve it for, because that's where you create your messaging.
Oh, you know what? I have like probably, and this is just an organic conversation, but in my mind, I have like 30 or 40 more questions. Because,
but we have 3 minutes.
I know we have like 3 minutes, because I'm thinking about the trends and the technology that's out here, especially with entrepreneurs. How can they like stay ahead of the curve? Because right now people are always caught up in the trends, but any advice, especially from your grow method? Theory?
The blinders, that's where, you know, it's always strategy first, tactics second, tech third. Tech is a supportive part of your business. Okay. It is not what should be leading your business. And that doesn't mean you can't incorporate, you know, all the different methodologies available through CRMs and, you know, the platforms that are out there. Yes, use them. But they should not be driving your business. Strategy should be driving your business.
Strategy. Y'all type that, strategy. Get going. Put your blinders on, making sure that you stay in your lane, but you're still going forward and you're still constantly moving, being in the right room as we prepare to close out. If you are anywhere near Knoxville, Tennessee, make sure that you are in the room on February 11th. If you are able to make your way there, you should be there. In many times, people have all kinds of reasons why they should or shouldn't be somewhere. This is an event, if you're anywhere near Knoxville, Tennessee, or surrounding areas, that you should be present and have some power connections happen for you. That's going to change the trajectory of your business and your life.
Yeah, I mean, and we have women coming already registered from Ohio, from North Carolina, from Georgia, as well as from Tennessee. Grab a girlfriend, turn it into a girlfriend time, you know, like just enjoy. I really want you to feel that the excitement is all about helping you get to the next step, helping you get into the action that maybe you've been hesitant about getting started in.
So guys, unlock your profit power with Sandra Yancey. And She's consulted with IBM, Dell, you name some of the largest names in the world. If you are one of the 14 million entrepreneurs in this world, we have 118 chapters throughout the country that you can be a part of with eWOMEN Network. So make sure that you go to eWomenNetwork.com/join, and you'll learn more about how to join any of our chapters. And you can put Abigail or Kim as your sponsors, okay? And you will be in for a tremendous, blessed time of being a part of an organization that is thriving. Abigail, any closing thoughts or comments?
No, thank you so much, Kim. This has been wonderful. I've loved this journey, through our conversation. And so I'm just excited. I hope I see some of you at the Knoxville Summit in February.
You will see plenty of people, I'm sure. Contact Abigail Tiefenthaler, and that's at 954-804-9413. She didn't put a website or anything because she wants you to reach out to her personally so she can give you some of the nice goodies that are offered to you for this upcoming event. The event is taking place in Knoxville, Tennessee at what is the name of the hotel you're going to be at?
It's a Hilton Garden Inn on Paper Mill.
The Hilton Garden Inn, and it's right on the flyer here. And it's going to be in Knoxville, February 11th, with our founder, Sandra Yancey, unlocking your profit power. And you're going to get to meet this sales savvy expert who has over 40 years of experience. And she's going to be pouring into you as well as the managing director with eWOMEN Network Charlotte. So you don't want to miss it. All right. This has been epic. I feel like we had a great time. Thank you all for tuning in. I do always need to give you the opportunity to pour into the Kim Jacobs Show, because a lot of times people ask, well, how do we support your broadcast? Well, guess what? This broadcast is only supported by people like you in the community that believe in our program. And you may have some kind of way been blessed, and your household may be better as a result of, right from the comfort of your home, tuning in Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. So take a moment and donate to the Kim Jacobs Show. You can do it through Cash App, $ Kim Jacobs Inc., or PayPal by doing paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc., or Venmo. Now, Abigail, people take pictures and put us on Facebook when they're doing this. So please smile for a second, I told people, don't put me on Facebook any old kind of way. At least let me get a side profile or something. So y'all, thank you for being a part of the Kim Jacobs Show and pouring into our program. That's the only way we can come on live and do all of the subscriptions and the things that we do offer to bring balance to your home, one household at a time. So thank you all for allowing us to serve you. Did you have a closing thought, Abigail, that you were like, I really wanted to say this and I didn't say it? Anything?
No, you rock though. Everyone, I want every listener to know they are special.
Every person here, you are super special, and we're so excited that you've given us this opportunity today. I'm going to put her confirmation right here one more time so that you can stay connected with Abigail. Let me put that up there. And then we're going to disconnect. Let me see. Call her now. 954-804-9413. I should hear the phone over there ringing. And make sure that you go ahead and get your seat before the seats sell out. It's coming up right around the corner, so you don't want to miss this opportunity to better your own business and your own business journey. All right, everybody, thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. I absolutely love you all. It is my honor and privilege to bring balance to the world. Thank you, Abigail, for being a tremendous guest. I'll see you backstage. All right, everybody. Love you all. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you and make it a great day.